this is okay. We called this meeting at the request of Ms. Springsteen and Mr. Wilson concerning a project that they may have intentions of doing or may move forward. So why don't we turn the floor over to them and let them tell us what their request is and what they're looking for us to do.
Sure. Hi, everybody. It's good to see everybody. This is Dave Wilson, Proudfoot Capital. We're in discussions with a end user who's looking to expand and relocate, and we identified a 3rd and Lincoln proper site as a really good possibility. So part of my negotiations is going to kind of require some level of certainty on my part. So what we're looking for is just a 60-day exclusive to buy the property. This will kind of, like I said, this will give us some certainty during our negotiations, and then if it doesn't come to fruition, I can just release. I'll get out of it. So that's kind of what we're looking for.
Can you give us any kind of idea what the project consists of, or what you would be putting on that site?
Yeah, it would be a minimum of 20,000 square feet. Most likely retail on the first floor, and then floors above it. So 2 or 3 stories.
Hey, Dave, it's Ricky. Would that be, you said commercial on the bottom, what would be on the top, residential or commercial as well?
No, commercial.
So commercial on top?
Yeah.
Now, I know you're in the beginning stages. Do you have any idea what the commercial space may be other than the potential tenant you're talking about? What does it look like down there? Is it do you have any idea what it could be? Like a Dunkin' Donuts, a Longhorn Steakhouse? I'm just naming.
Well, actually, we're not talking any retail yet. So our main, if we get this company to relocate, then the kind of economics work out where we'll put spec retail space in there, and I wouldn't foresee having a problem renting it.
How much of this, you said 20,000 square feet will be the building size. How much of this potential tenant that you're talking to right now, how much of that 20,000 square feet will they take up?
At least 10.
At least 10? Okay.
And a time frame, Dave? I know that time was of the essence for you to be able to get exclusivity. Sue had relayed that to me because of your negotiations with your potential tenant. But should you be able to get the tenant to sign a lease or come to an agreement with them, what's your time frame with the project?
We'll be able to move as fast as you guys approve everything. So they're ready to go. They ideally like to get in there within a year and a half or so, and just going by, the 190 project. If we didn't have a problem with Pico, and a little bit of COVID, we would have got that project done a little over a year. So, same kind of, I'm not expecting COVID to be an issue, and there's no power lines crossing the site now, I don't believe. So I don't think Pico is going to be an issue. So it's really just basically, and I'm going to use the same design and build team. So, and it's probably going to look a lot like our new addition that we have at 190. So from a design standpoint, it's not going to take too long. Then it's just a matter of submitting everything to the city and getting rolling that way.
Other questions that the board members might have?
Sue, did I miss anything, Sue? Or
no, I think you covered it.
Yeah. Lou, should the board decide to do this, you had said you had some sort of a letter or something
So I started
prepared?
drafting a letter. I will tailor it to what you all may decide or condition on this call for the RDA board. But the gist of it is it would be under your signature. It would confirm whether or not the RDA board votes tonight to authorize a 60-day due diligence exclusivity period to PCA QOZ Fund 1 LLC or its affiliates. Let's see, in consideration for the due diligence efforts that PCA would exert during this time, the Redevelopment Authority would not enter into any redevelopment agreement for this site with another party or prospective redeveloper. This due diligence period would end, or this exclusive due diligence period would end on Monday, August 2nd at midnight, unless PCA wants to end it sooner and notifies the RDA. This is just for exclusivity. If PCA wants a redevelopment agreement, it still would be subject to approval by the RDA board as to the terms and conditions. The RDA board would have to vote on that at a public meeting. And because of the location of the property, it's in a redevelopment area, that's also subject to approval by Coatesville City Council. And last but not least, this is not an entry agreement. If they want to go on site or send a surveyor or a realtor or prospective tenants to, go on or about the property, they would need to come back to the Redevelopment Authority for asking for a site license, which they can do as soon as the June 21st RDA meeting if they need to, or they could wait until a future meeting.
So basically, we would grant David's company 60 days of exclusivity. We wouldn't talk to anyone else for 2 months.
I guess by way of further clarification, because the Redevelopment Authority is a public agency, there's really no effective way to prevent any third party, if Warren Buffett made an unsolicited offer to the Redevelopment Authority for 300 East Lincoln Highway, you really, couldn't prevent him from throwing that offer over the transom, so to speak. But this is essentially what I understood David and Sue to be looking for, that the Redevelopment Authority wouldn't be entering into any redevelopment agreement with a third-party redeveloper during that 60-day period ending on the 2nd. We really can't stop anybody that might send in an unsolicited offer or expression of interest or letter of interest or something for the same property. It's just that the Redevelopment Authority during this due diligence period wouldn't be contracting with anybody else. Does that sound like what you're looking for?
Yeah, good work. Good work, Lou.
So
Dave, I have one
really,
question.
unless the RDA board has any further questions, the motion on the floor would be to authorize Mr. I guess if one of you wanted to make a motion to put on the floor authorization for Mr. DeSciullo to sign a letter about the 60-day exclusivity period to PCA with those terms.
I just have one question, Lou. David indicated that if he couldn't make the deal that he needs to make, he would end the agreement, which I assume to mean earlier than 60 days.
Right.
And would also know if you made the deal, would you then come back to us less than 60 days to process the full agreement?
So
Yes, yeah, the
I
sooner- okay.
did type that in. Yes. So
Okay.
I did put in that PCA can elect to end it sooner. Right. So if PCA wanted to, let's say things went very favorably with the prospective tenant, you could go to the RDA board for June 21st and ask the board to approve a redevelopment agreement and terminate the exclusivity period early, or you could wait and see how further the negotiations went before making that decision.
Okay.
Additional questions of Lou or David's team?
Dave, I just have one question. This is Joe. Joe Candler, not Zeke. you feel very comfortable with the 60 days. We're not going to be, coming up to 60 days. We need extensions. I'm just uncomfortable taking something off the market like that unless you feel as though the 60 days is well within reason of what you're looking, that you can negotiate or do what you have to do within that time frame.
Yeah, I understand this is an ask, so I'm not going to abuse it. So 60, I'm not going to come back and say I need more time. That wouldn't be fair to you guys. So yes, I'm comfortable with 60 days. I'll have a yay or nay.
Okay.
Okay.
We're actually not taking it off the market. We're just putting a hold on it. Am I correct by saying that?
So the wording of the letter as it currently stands says, in consideration of these due diligence efforts during the PCA due diligence period, the RDA will not enter into any redevelopment agreement for the 300 ELH property with another party / prospective redeveloper, and that's limited to the 60-day due diligence period. So again, not to abuse Mr. Buffett, but if Mr. Buffett made an unsolicited offer, I'll pay the RDA $5 million for a redevelopment agreement for this property, right? Just because PCA has an exclusive period on it wouldn't prevent the RDA from just waiting out the period and saying exclusivity period over and we're entering into a redevelopment agreement with Mr. Buffett.
So, Tyrone, I don't believe we're taking it off the market. We're simply saying, hey, if you want to if you have an idea for the lot, that's fine, but we can't do anything with you for 60 days. This fellow's got the rights, and if he says nay, then we can look at your project. But for 60 days, we really can't do anything.
And of course, if David and Sue and whoever else is involved with PCA wants to top the unsolicited offer that may or may not come in the interim, they could certainly do that.
Okay.
Any other questions? What's the board's pleasure?
I'd like to make a motion that we enter into that 60-day agreement, exclusivity agreement with Proudfoot. All the necessary revisions and corrections that Lou had stated previously. I'd like to make that motion.
Thank you, Ricky.
I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you. We have a
I'm sorry,
motion
Mr.
to.
Chairman, before the board votes on that, I just wanted to
Yes, sir.
correct with David. This is written for PCA, not Proudfoot, right?
Just trying to think of.
Right now, this letter is written for.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that
for PCA and or
I have another entity that that has funding. So it's, why don't you make it Proudfoot Capital or affiliates? Is that okay?
All right, so I will rephrase my motion to entering into a 60-day exclusivity with Proudfoot and Associates. Affiliates, I'm sorry, with any necessary revisions or corrections that Lou has stated previously in that motion. I want to mimic that.
And I'll stick to my motion, second of that motion.
Thank you both. All of those in favor of approving the 60-day exclusivity that Ricky and Tyrone motioned? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So basically, Lou will work out a letter, get it to David, and we'll see.
I'll send it to you first, Mr. Chairman, because it's got to be e-signed, and then it'll be distributed to David and Sue and the rest of the board.
Just Lou, I'll be traveling tomorrow from noon, but I will have my computer with me when I'm once I get there Saturday.
Well, I am here in my office. It'll only take me like 5 minutes to make those changes and
Okay, yeah, if I,
resend them off
if
to
I have
you.
it before noon tomorrow, I can do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do it the Saturday morning. That's all I'm saying.
No, I realize this is time sensitive, so if you give me like 10 minutes to go back to the document and make these changes, I'll be able to send it for your e-signature.
That's fine. Best of luck with your tenant. I hope you can get him to sign on board. You know, we certainly were impressed with the job at 190. You did a wonderful
Yes.
job there, and you know, we'd like to see you do the same thing at Third Avenue.
Oh,
Great.
thank you. And thank you for doing this special meeting. I know it's, it's another night out away from your family, so thank you very much.
Well, unfortunately, I think the governor is saying that in October, he wants meetings to be public again and in person, which this Zoom is especially like for special meetings like this, it's great.
Yeah.
It reduces the amount of time it takes for everybody to get together and so forth. But you know, we'll see how it goes. Thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Thank you,
for
Thank you very
guys.
much.
To
Thank you.
attend the special meeting and setting it up. Thank you, Lou. Thank
Okay,
everyone.
thank you.
Have a good evening.
Good evening.
You know.
Take care.